Jim Gaffney, I'm with the United States Agency for International Development. I'm a General Development Officer. Some of the things I work on are seed systems and delivering really wonderful technology at scale to smallholder farmers and trying to be more efficient and effective at doing that very thing. Why I'm passionate about agriculture? Well, I grew up on a farm in southwest Minnesota. I studied agriculture at every step of the way in my training, academic training. I was in the United States Peace Corps in southern Cameroon for a few years, working at an ag tech school. And then I joined industry. So I've been in industry, crop protection and seed industry for 25 years in my career before joining AID. So agriculture has been part of everything I've done practically from birth to present. And I guess I just see so much potential for what agriculture can deliver for sustainable systems, sustainable intensification, for adaptation to climate change. And I really believe if we get agriculture right and continue to improve agriculture, it can even be a climate change mitigator. We can slow down climate change by doing better and being more efficient and more productive in agriculture. So those are the things that really get me fired up. I'm still involved with the family farm in different ways in Minnesota. Through marriage, I have another family, my in-laws in Cameroon. My wife is from Cameroon. They don't have the same inputs. The family farm in Minnesota has, all the inputs, new seed every year, hybrid maize, GM maize, mechanization, insurance. The family in the village in southern Cameroon has very few of those inputs available to them. And that's kind of the challenge I see. How do we get more inputs to the smallholder farmers so they can be every bit as resilient and adaptive and productive as a farmer in southern Minnesota or Iowa or anywhere else? So thank So I'll start with, farmers that I know really well, my family in Minnesota, my sister, her husband, my nephew, they're farming. I have, neighbors that are farming. And I would say in southwest Minnesota, so, if you're looking at the map, that's northern US, just one border up would be Canada, just to set everybody straight here. So this is really the middle of North America. And this is maybe a little bit contrarian, but climate change hasn't really had a really adverse impact on them. Yields continue to go up in that part of the country. Their soils are getting healthier. Eric mentioned no-till. Since I was a kid growing up on the farm, tillage has changed. There's less and less tillage going on, which is good for the soil. So there's a lot of positive things going on there. I think the one thing that does impact them every now and then is more severe rainfall events. Getting 3 or 4 inches of rain in a couple of hours isn't good for anybody. And those types of rainfall events seem to be happening more and more, and that can have some real consequences. The other farmers that I know, going back to Cameroon, Central Africa, they are probably more impacted. You see changing weather patterns. The rain doesn't show up on time like it used to show up, or at least it's not as consistent as it used to be. So the rainy seasons are delayed or shorter, or maybe not as much rain, or like I said, really severe rainfall events followed by no rain for a spell. So that makes it tough. And the other problem in Cameroon and lots of parts of Africa is the fact that farmers are using some very old varieties of crops. So if you're using a 20 or 30-year-old variety, that variety is in no way adapted to the current environment. And so that's where the family in Minnesota has a real advantage. New seed, hybrids, GM technology, soil fertility management, everything is new every year. They have so much technology coming at them, they can make choices. In Cameroon and a lot of parts of Africa, the the choices aren't there. The options for these farmers to adapt and be more resilient are not there. So those are the things that really concern me. So thank you. Yeah, so that's a tough one. Definitely a tough one. If you look at hybrid maize throughout East Africa as an example, it's been fairly successful in a number of countries. There's a value chain that is developed for hybrid maize. Seed companies are interested because it's profitable, and there seems to be enough off-takers and a transparent market in enough countries that hybrid maize, the seed system for hybrid maize, does develop and can be successful. Ethiopia was just a knockout success. You know, starting around 1995 to 2015, Ethiopia just did wonderful things with hybrid maize. Most of the crops, though, are not hybrids. They're open pollinated varieties. So farmers can save these seeds. And so there's less incentive for the private sector to be involved, and a market does not develop. So our challenge there is to look at how we can develop these seed systems more effectively so there's downstream help. We know there's good varieties available. There's new varieties available. We have to figure out how to get that new germplasm, those new genetics into farmers' fields. And there's a missing piece there, that in the US and in Europe, there's different organizations with government help that have developed breeder seed, foundation seed, certified seed, and then that certified seed can then go to the farmers. In many countries in Africa and Asia, that middle piece is missing. The early generation seed piece is missing. And it's not easy to develop that because in the US, it's still to this day, for some open pollinated variety crops, it takes an injection of let's call it what it is, taxpayer help. It is subsidized in different ways. And then growers also subsidize it back through checkoff systems. When they purchase seed and when they sell grain, a bit of that money goes back to support the seed system. In many countries, that does not exist today. So there's a lot of work to be done there, but when it does work, it can be a wonderful thing. I mean, we've seen it work in different crops in Africa, and we need to build on that success and make it happen. Well, that's what we work on at USAID. How do we get technology to scale, and how do we impact more smallholder farmers? And there's a few things that we think are very important. Number one, we need to get the policy right throughout Africa and Asia to allow farmers to thrive. There are some funny hurdles in the way over the years, things like restricting export of grain. When maybe grain is starting to be in short supply, prices are going up. So governments say, well, we're going to keep the grain inside our borders. And that's good for consumers, keeps consumer prices low, but it's a very tough disincentive for farmers. There's no reason for a farmer to make an effort to produce more grain if the price is kept artificially low. So then there's all kinds of policy initiatives going on, and we're moving in the right direction. Make no mistake about it. Policy is improving to allow seed companies to do a better job and thrive and de-risk seed company activity. So there's the second thing. We really need to get the private sector more involved, and we need to find more ways to make the seed business attractive to the private sector seed companies, and not just for hybrid maize, but for other crops as well. So what does a private sector look for? Less risk, good policy, higher revenue. How can we help deliver that? Those are the types of things that we think about, and those are the types of things that we need to do to make sure we're moving more technology into farmers' hands.